Hey guys, I just wanted to make a general skill, macro, and gear guide for Wizard because I've seen some questionable things out there and thought I might give my opinion on a lot of what Wizard needs. So, first thing off, this is my skills. This is basically what I use for everything aside from PvP. Uh, there's two ways that you can form this build. You can form with Focus Seal Max. This is more of a selfish build that I use for solo dungeons, I guess, carries, etc. And then it's pretty basic. You just full max into flames. It's your most DPS. Pretty easy. For your macro, you're just gonna want one for just Flame Wave. Reason being is Flame Wave without using it on a macro goes this fast. Doesn't seem like it's that insane. But if you put Flame Wave on a macro and hold any one of the directional keys, being arrow keys if you're on a keyboard, while going in the direction of Flame Wave, it goes about twice as fast. This is going to be your most DPS skill and used basically for everything. Other than that, all you're going to be using is Flame Tornado every time it's off cooldown, Ice Spear, or what is it called? Thunderbolt? Thunderbolt, basically every time it's off cooldown, and Phantom Claw anytime you're low on Spirit. So the skill rotation is not too hard for Wizard. It's pretty basic. But let's talk about gear next. This is currently what I'm running on my Wizard. I have a plus 14 Merpagoth Warrior Staff with 2.6% piercing and 10% magic piercing. It's not the greatest bonus attributes, but you should be aiming for something around there. For my hat, for basically all armor, you're going to be wanting boss damage at a pretty high level. Now, I haven't been getting too lucky with my boss damage rolls, so I only have it on my hat and top right now. My top, I got very lucky to 4.3%. I believe max you can get right now is 5%. So I have 4.3%, 2%, 0%. Magic piercing on gloves is what you want. So this is pretty good. And then you're going to want movement speed / boss damage on shoes. Pretty easy. It's roll for boss damage on all your armor and magic piercing on gloves. Movement speed is obviously useful on shoes because movement speed, although magic attack isn't the worst roll ever. Moving on to accessories, you're going to want piercing. Piercing is huge. It's obviously the most important stat line in the game. If you don't have piercing at a high level, you're not really doing that much. So you're going to want, obviously, piercing on everything. I don't really have it that high on my cape, 1.9%. It's not bad. I would aim for at least 1.9% on everything. I've got 2.5% on my pendant. Now, here's where it gets to my everything else, alright? So I have 4% or 4.5% boss damage on my earrings, which is great. I'm happy with this boss damage roll, right? I still keep a set pair of earrings that have piercing on them because piercing is such an important stat line and you're going to want it for many, many raids. There are times, most of the time, piercing gets more value than boss damage and is why it's a higher prioritized stat. I also have a ring, because my ring, I also rolled boss damage. And while my ring's not the greatest, I would 100% say that you should run a high piercing ring over a low boss damage ring. Although, that being said, accuracy is definitely not a bad second stat to have. On my belt, still rerolling this. I only got 1.3% piercing. It's whatever. But that's the basics for what you're going to want for gear. Piercing or boss damage is not bad. but piercing is definitely preferred on every single accessory. You're going to want boss damage on every single armor piece. Gloves, you're going to want magic piercing. They're the exception. And for your weapon, piercing, obviously the most important stat line. Secondary stat line, you know, magic piercing, total damage, boss damage, they're all really good. Again, I would recommend just making sure you have a high piercing number. So, with Chaos Raids coming out, people are kind of wondering what they're supposed to do. And I'm kind of in the same boat. What I've found is that you should have a high base piercing of at least around 10%, unbuffed from the Scion of Light buff that you can get in your house. So what I have right now is 12.1% piercing, which is good. I'm trying to raise it before Chaos Raids. In a defense of at least, well, I've heard that it's at least 2,000, but I'm a little bit below that, and I'm not exactly sure if that's a confirmed number or just something that I heard. So let me show you what you need to be doing right now if you can't get a good roll on Abso earrings or any Abso accessory. You should be grinding for savagery. Savagery is super important because regardless of the basic attributes, obviously bonus attributes triumph. To get savagery rings, savagery earrings, and all that, what I do is I have Tronics alts, and I do Tronics and Veer, which is these two dungeons that give you fragments for either. So Tronics gives you belt and earring fragments. These are transferable to characters. And Forgotten Veer gives you necklace and cape. Again, transferable to characters. But if you don't know like this game like me, and you don't have the time to do that, if you've been doing your dailies on your main from life skills, in the crafting tab, in handicrafts, you're able to make these things yourself. Savagery necklace boxes, Savagery ring boxes, and cape boxes. Pretty easy, pretty convenient, right? I can't make belt boxes yet, but soon. I don't even know if I'm gonna need them by that time, but if you haven't done either of that, your final option could literally just be to check the black market. You can check savagery. You can go into additional options, search for piercing, and put in 1.9%. That's what I've been doing. I've been checking it, making sure there's anything I need. So if you needed something with a high piercing stat line, you couldn't roll it on Abso, you couldn't get anything yourself, last option's the black market. You just look for things here. I think rings with high piercing are going for the most right now. But I would say this is definitely a viable option, especially, again, getting ready for Chaos Raids. Well, this wasn't too long of a video. I just kind of wanted to put in something kind of small for Wizard and maybe help somebody out who's new to the class or new to the game. But I hope I did help you out, and if I did, leave a like, maybe maybe subscribe. I don't know. I'm trying to do this YouTube thing more, and I'm not too great at it yet, but I do appreciate any support. It means a lot. Thank you so much.